Thanks all, we're ready to go. So welcome to this webinar, and I would like to hand over to Kristjan Johannsson, our General Manager, and we will talk about migrating more LS NAV customers to LS Central SaaS faster. Kristjan, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. So yeah, welcome on behalf of LS Retail. I'm very happy to invite you, welcome this morning and this afternoon to this webinar. We have defined the topic strategic to become more skilled and effective in doing migration. So it is from our side a strategic initiative that we are basically kicking off here today. We are going to focus a lot on this during 2024 and going forward. So we will be doing a number of things, and we will be supporting this initiative with a lot of initiatives on our side, but also to present this today, and then we will move forward. We will also focus on this during our connection event in May, etc. So it is a huge customer base we have at LS Retail that is running on some old solutions, many of them, and some of them are quite out of date and even not longer supported by Microsoft. So there is a big reason to give a lot of attention to these customers. Many of them are very, as you know from the old days of Navision, very customized, and there's a lot of specific functionality that wasn't there at that time that now needs to be updated, and a lot of the functionality of the latest version of BC is already covering many of them. So there are a lot of low-hanging fruits here to offer to the customers. We believe that we all need to be very proactive towards these customers, have a conversation with them, tell them the benefits of SaaS and going SaaS, and all the things that are now included in the solution, our solution, as well as, of course, taking a lot of things into or being updated with on the LS Central site. So we also think that this customer base and this installed base is also a prime target for our competitors. So we believe that many of them will be targeted by our competitors. So this we need to be aware of as well. We believe there's a huge opportunity here because Business Central with Navision and with Microsoft is on the run. There is this is one of the most successful business unit of Microsoft, and Business Central has been very successful, and we see a lot of attention from the Microsoft side to this product. So Microsoft is totally dedicated to this journey. They are, of course, pushing hard for the SaaS move and the migration to SaaS. So that is also something that is helpful for us. They have now defined some programs already. The AIM program, which stands for Accelerate, Innovation and Move, was launched in the autumn at Directions in Lyon in France. And there is also now for a couple of years another program called BC Concierge Support, which also is a support to those that are going for SaaS. Also, we see that the platform is becoming more and more robust and more scalable. Performance issues have been solved, so the offering is becoming better and better. We, on our side, are also doing similar things, so we are supporting this journey, and with our programs, we also want to contribute here and work closely with our partners. We also see that we have already several large installations that are running well. And there's a growing pipeline of bigger implementations. So in the beginning, we started with many small ones, but now they're getting bigger and bigger, and they're running better and better. So the business value of going SaaS is growing fast, and we have a number of cases to, as testimonials, and we can talk with much more confidence than we could before. So the bottom line here is that the economic value of migration is considerable, both for us, but also you, our partners. Over to you, Peter.
Thank you very much, Kristjan. Thank you for the introduction here. There are two more speakers today in this webinar. The first one is Adalbjorg Karlsdottir, who's leading our cloud acceleration program. It's an onboarding lead. And my name is Peter Vach, and I'm heading up our partner operations team. This is a community call, meaning I put a disclaimer in, we don't have all the answers for you, but as a community, I'm sure we can find all the answers on how we can motivate our existing customers on older versions to migrate to the cloud. And what we would like to do in the upcoming 45 minutes, we would like to talk to you about a few elements that makes this migration possible. So on the agenda, we've got 6 points we'd like to discuss with you. First and foremost, we'd like to do a little bit of refresh of the value of business and LS Central as a cloud solution compared to the solutions that customers have today. We'd like to talk about the technology shift that's all around us and how this might impact and could impact also customers to decide to make this move to the cloud. But the core part we like this part is the business value, the why. Why should customers do this migration? What's in it for them? Let's also not underestimate the challenges and discuss what's holding our customers back and how can we address this to make show the value for them to make that migration. And last but not least, it's very good to talk about how can we as LS Retail help you with our migration services? What are you looking for? And how can we aggregate the knowledge we have in our community of over 3,000 certified specialists to bring the best to our customers and help to migrate them. And as Kristjan said, it's a pretty large opportunity. If you look at the numbers there, we've got about 3,500 active customers today, not on the latest versions. And I think that's a group of customers we need to make sure that we stay with us and we show them the value of going to the latest and the greatest and running LS Central as a cloud solution. So if you start off with that, then let's talk a little bit or re-emphasize on the value of LS Central SaaS. And we've heard this before because we started talking about the value of SaaS about 5 years ago. You all remember the evergreen train, but it's important to re-emphasize it and also looking at what customers say that are running LS Central on the cloud today. What's the value they get out of it? First and foremost, I think what we see all around us is around security. Customers that are older versions are on unsupported versions, meaning that if something happened, if there's a ransomware attack or anything else, they're pretty much on their own. And we've seen and we see all around us this happening, that people or customers are being attacked and are asked for ransom for money to release them again to get their systems back. We saw it last year in Denmark, luckily not with our customers, with some other retailers that were attacked and were out of business for almost 2 weeks. And in the country I live, in Sweden, just last week, a server park of a hosted provider was attacked, and many customers also in retail were out of business. And one of the larger retailers here, they basically lost 1.5 weeks of inventory. They could not replenish their stores. They could not drive their trucks. They lost all of this. And as they said in the Swedish newspapers, they lost millions of euros just because of that attack. So security is becoming more and more important, and customers on older versions, they are vulnerable. They are taking a high risk on the systems they're running on, that they are not secure enough. We all know that the cloud of Microsoft is probably one of the best secured platforms in the world. They spend a lot of money on making security the highest priority and giving the best benefits to customers. So here already, we need to address this fear of if you stay on older versions, you are very vulnerable. And if something happens, it's very difficult to get the support you need to get out of it. So that's one point that we keep on addressing. Another point around this is obviously around the under the iceberg, but we always look at the top of the iceberg, what's under the iceberg, and all the costs related to run a service as a cloud service. And typically when we compare this, we compare that top of the iceberg, the licensing cost, but what else is there? And one of our customers also here in Sweden said, we're not in the business of IT, we're in the business of selling paint. I don't want to deal with this. I want to consume my solution, my retail management solution, and not deal with hardware related questions, with IT staff, with infrastructure, with all the underlying costs. And cost of hardware have increased a lot in price, thanks to, or maybe not thanks to, the expensive US dollar and also the inflation. So this is a hidden cost, typically maybe underestimated, but something that most of the customers do not want to deal with. It's difficult to find it. It's difficult to find the staff to maintain it. So why bother if you can run it as a service and somebody else runs it? It's more like a convenience. Scalability, flexibility, and easy onboarding is one that you also hear a lot. Starting with a small one and being easy to roll out quickly. Many stores, many point of sales. We have some examples of existing customers here, but this is very much because the infrastructure is there. You don't need to go in and do it store by store. You can all run it from the cloud. So this is something that helps to scale out fast and gives more flexibility. And last but not least, in this value of running LS Central with Business Central in the cloud is this what we always use as the evergreen train. You're always current and compliant on your version. So you keep on moving on your skateboard, as you can see on this beautiful picture here, and always be updated and get the latest versions. So customers on the older versions, they need to go to one big bang upgrade again, but after that, they will always be current and compliant. And guess what? We're on the best platform. We're building on the best platform. So there's a lot of innovation in the Microsoft Cloud, in the Microsoft Business Central, which gives them a lot of innovation that helps them to grow their business and give competitive advantage. So these are the elements, and I'm sure you all know it because we've talked about it before, but it's good to refresh it, that we talk about, and we need to address also with existing customers what they are missing out on. And to summarize that, this is a slide of Mike Morton that Mike showed at our event, connection event in Greece last May. And he compared here hosted on-premise and online as a service. There's a lot of information on this slide, but it basically summarizes what we just talked about in the advantages of running it as an online service. But I would like to highlight one point of this, which is all around this, and it is around the rich capabilities you get out of the box when running LS Central in the cloud. It's fully integrated with the rest of the Microsoft stack. Think about the Power Platform with Power Automate, Power BI, with Teams, etc. But the big discussion, and the IT industry is pretty good in making a lot of noise, is artificial intelligence. It's all around us. You cannot miss it. Microsoft is leading the way with everything they call Copilot, which is incorporated in all their solutions. You saw it at Directions in Lyon. This was where they talked about. It's still, in all honesty, maybe a lot of paperwork. So there's a lot of information already out there to paint the vision of what AI can do and how it can affect our business. So I encourage you to read those. There's a nice white paper here, Future of ERP, Empowering Business and People with AI-Guided Productivity. As said, PowerPoint vision, but you also see more and more reality. And I'm sure all of us have tested the AI, ChatGPT. We've been testing it ourselves internally, and it's very powerful, how fast it learns, how accurate it is to give the information. So just think of that, how it will affect Business Central SaaS going forward. Our team, obviously in development, is also looking into this and is looking at what Copilot can do and how we can impact this with our solutions. But just think of data analysis and insights. Think of supply chain optimization. Think about predictive analytics, automation of repetitive tasks, use of natural language, automating report generation. It will increase your employee productivity a lot. Fraud detection and security is one that's really where AI can really help out. So there's a lot of areas, there's a lot of components where AI will stick out. And I think what we need to address with our existing customers that are on versions that are 15 plus or 10-year plus year old is this fear of missing out. If you do not change your systems, your competitors will do. They will get a competitive advantage. They will be leading with this technology shift, and they will be more and more competitive. And I think that's what we need to address. But there's a lot of technical elements here that we can talk about, where there's a lot of good information available, where we are keen on helping you to address it with these customers to address this. But in the end, it comes down to the business value. And this is the CEO, CFO of our retail customers saying, hey, what's in it for me? What do I get out of it? I'm happy with the solution I have today. It's running fine. Why would I bother? And then it's very important to make it accurate in numbers, in return on investment. This Forrester report that came out by Microsoft in October 23, I think it's very powerful to read. It shows the economic impact of Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central and shows what kind of return of investment and what of advantage you can get in both gaining more, making more money, saving money, increasing your productivity, etc. I think we as a community need to have very similar for LS Central. We need to be able to talk about the business value our customers get out of running in the cloud, but also the business value of migrating from old versions to new versions. And here, I have also a request to you to look at this and help us to bring on the cases. We have some fantastic SaaS cases on our website. I think most of you that joined Connection in Greece remember the case of Vita, our Norwegian customer that rolled with the help of our great partner BDG in Sweden out to 116 stores in just a couple of weeks. And you see here in the case that we have on our website that they talk about the same advantages, the technology advantages, like platform synergy, like continuous updates about it, and happy on running it in the cloud. So this is a strong case. We need more of these, and we especially need cases on migrating customers. One customer that did that is Casa del Café out of Nicaragua. Another case that we have on our website, and here again you see they address the business value they get out of it by especially lowering the cost of running the solution in the cloud and not having to deal with, for example, infrastructure costs, and having better control on their business. So the more we can make this specific, the more we can translate it into numbers, the better we can present ourselves as customers, why customers should migrate to the cloud and see the value out of it. So my first call to action to you here today is to discuss this with the customers. What's the business value customers get out of it? If you have migrated customer already, talk about it as well. What are the advantages they see? And bring those on. So we need more evidence, we need more customer cases, we need proof. And our marketing is very keen on helping out there to make cases, to actually make videos to present this. Just 2 weeks ago, we as LS Retail were at NRF, the largest retail exhibition in the world. And our customer cases speaks for themselves. It helps us as a community to really sell more and convince customers to migrate from old versions to new versions. So the better proof we have, the good it is. As Kristjan already said, we have many customers running LS Central SaaS. To be precise, it's a little bit more than 400 today. So if you can get those customers to talk about it and talk about the value, it will help us all to address and make that ROI study, that return on investment study, like I just showed that Microsoft has from Forrester. We can make similar than specifically for LS Central. So please notice as an action. If you have customers, address the business value, and please discuss this with us and bring it to the table. Obviously, there's also a business value for you. There's some golden eggs to be taken. I'm sure you know all of this, so I keep it short. But in general, SaaS customers, you get better margins. They generate more revenue of it, but also on the cost side of your own business. If you don't need to maintain staff that still knows NAV 2019 or LS Central version 2013, both as consulting and support, you can save some money and you can keep all your staff on the latest and the greatest version. So there are some golden eggs, and I'm sure you know about this because you're all working on this. But on the other hand, we also need to talk about the challenges, because we've talked now about the technology value. There's a lot in it. There's a lot of goodies in it. There's this big technology shift around us. We talked about the business value, where we see some good examples, where we need better examples. But what are the challenges we see? What are the challenges that customers talk with us about? If they're on an older version, why don't they see, or why are they not all jumping on that same train to move to the cloud? We all know climbing a rock is not that easy, and it requires a lot of dedication. But let's talk a bit about the challenges we've heard about and address those. So to Kristjan's point, if I start with the two lower ones, I mean, when we started developing LS Central as a cloud solution a couple of years ago, then there were a lot of concerns about the performance and the scalability of the Microsoft underlying platform, the infrastructure, also about the reliability of the cloud service. We've seen the hiccups, but we also seen that Microsoft had invested a lot of money in making this a lot better, and it's very keen on helping customers that find or experience performance issues to bump them up on their hardware and get better services there. So they're very keen on helping out, and they have made their service a lot more reliable during the course of the years. So I think we're in very good hands with Microsoft, taking the feedback serious and making the service better and better. But the other concerns are much more on the cost of migration, all the customizations made to adapt the system to how the customer is running it, all the integrations made. Migrating is like an open heart surgery, as we say. It's not an easy one. It's not on a Friday afternoon. It takes time, and customers want this to be as hassle-free as possible. And we all know it's not going to be hassle-free. It's a challenge. It's difficult to do this, but we need to emphasize on the values again to make sure that the fear of missing out They realize that, and they also see the advantages of making it, getting the value out of the modern version. So we went a little bit around the community and we asked some of our top partners quickly to answer a number of questions. Say what's holding back, and what are the main obstacles to convince customers to move to the latest version of LS Central. And you see pricing, the costs, happiness of the current version are still there. So we need to address those. We need to make sure we make it commercially attractive for customers to start moving. And let's see how we can address that. Luckily, when we asked, all of you said, we're on it. We are talking to our customers. We are seeing migrating. I think we all realize that keeping customers on old versions is a high risk, because there's a risk of them starting looking around and leaving us. And I think there's also a real value, like we just said, for us as a community to get customers on the latest versions and show them the innovations and not trying to keep them on versions that are not supported anymore. Also, we asked, do you have a dedicated consulting team here? Because we feel this is a specialized role. Migrating customers is something new than implementing new customers. So having specialized teams around this is important. And luckily, 61% said out of these parties that answered here, yes, we have a dedicated team on it. And also here, it's good to share that knowledge among us. We have 300 partners in our community sharing that knowledge. That's why we do webinars like this. That's why we organize roundtables. That's why we do connections. It's very good, because the collective knowledge will help us to get better and better on this. Another point of the feedback here in the survey is around the what help can we offer from our side. And ones that answered nothing, we are fine. I think we're here today to convince you that we actually can help you and address some of the key points. But the main feedback here is about the licensing part. So it's the cost part that's holding back customers to migrate. We're happy with the version. We think it's too expensive. It will cost us a lot of money to do it. Let's be honest. So we need to talk about the business value again, but also the advantages. And we all know when we decided in another community to ban diesel cars and move to electric cars, that many governments went in there to offer special deals to make it more attractive. And I think that's exactly where we're at today as well in our community. What are the offerings that we can bring to the table to make it attractive to get customers to move to the cloud? The current offering out there, I think most of you are aware of this. It's called Bridge to the Cloud. It's still valid till the end of this year. What we have seen with Bridge to the Cloud 2 is that we get far too few cases in to discuss this. So we have done 75 Bridge to the Cloud offerings right now. We just said we've got 3,500 customers on all the versions that are active on enhancement. So one shout out is here, bring the cases to the table. Let's make the analysis and let's see what's holding back. Just quickly about the promotion. I think hopefully most of you are aware of it, but basically what it does is your current EP, your enhancement plan, stays on 80%. So you save some money there and you do some monthly billing. So you get a little bit better cash flow. It helps you just to keep your cost at a similar level it is today. You get a nice discount, 40% on the cloud, and you kind of expected to migrate your installation to the cloud within the 3 years. So it's a 3 year term. It's a fixed price, which is good because prices have been changing a little bit because of the expensive dollar in recent years. But if you are in Bridge to the Cloud, then you are on a fixed price, and it covers what's important. Of course, you keep your existing license. You get a new cloud license, and also what we call the third license, meaning if you want to run your system with an offline point of sale or hybrid, as we call it, you also get that third license in the same version as your cloud license. So that's all covered. But we also know the challenges. And the challenges is a pretty rigid model. It's fixed quantity. You cannot lower your users. You cannot switch between user types, which is a bit challenge in retail because within 3 years, a lot can happen in retail. But the two key points of challenges you've told us and Microsoft as well is that the normal pricing after year 3, so the challenge of migrating the year 4 to 6 challenge, basically it's called. You know, the first 3 years you get a good price and then suddenly you bump up. And another big challenge is, especially for the oldest customers, if you move from concurrent to named users, that you get all those users for free. So you get a 1-to-3 ratio, you get all these users, but then after year 3, suddenly you need to pay for it. And this is a very much a case-by-case analysis we need to do, and we encourage you to reach out to our team. You have the regional sales teams, but also the licensing experts in our team and our partner operations that can help you to make those analysis and collect those cases. It helps us a lot as well to address this with Microsoft and say what better offering we need to do. And as I said in the disclaimer at the beginning of the webinar, we don't have all the answers yet. But again, collectively as a community, if we address this, we hope to get better offerings out there, longer term offerings to make this more attractive for old customers to migrate to the cloud. If you look in terms of investment, we have seen some movement on the Microsoft side in recent months, and I'd like to address that. And one movement here is the Microsoft AIM program, which stands for Accelerate, Innovate, and Move. And there's a link in here, and you all get the recording that will be available on our partner portal and the presentation, so you can close to these links and find more information about this program. But what it basically is, it consists of three parts. The first part is the assessment part. So this is talking about the technology and the business value, why customers on-premise should move to the cloud, why customers on old versions should move to the cloud. And we're very keen here on incorporating the LS Central knowledge as well, because a large chunk what the customer is using is obviously Navision and moving to Business Central, but the most important part is from LS Nav to LS Central. So we're keen on helping out on those assessments. There's a financial benefit as well for customers in what Microsoft calls A countries, which is mainly Europe and America. It's $3,500 plus $1,500 for a workshop, so $5,000 you can get to run this assessment for your customers. In APAC and other regions, it's a little bit lower. I think it's about $2,500, but there's still some good money to just help from Microsoft to help customers to do this assessment. The other part of the program is this Innovate, where there are expert partners that have done a lot of migrations, can help you to accelerate doing the technical work and maybe deliver some extra services like migrating customizations or helping with integrations and just giving some expertise there. There's other benefits and other money also on the table that I like to talk about in this program, but this is a very good sign that Microsoft is stepping up in promoting this. And we also seen customers that got some money, other money out of Microsoft to discuss this and help migrate customers to the cloud. So a bit on the AIM program, when we ask our partners in the survey, then luckily 53% of you said, yes, we've heard about it. The other ones said, we never heard about it or we have not used it. So hopefully you're on this call because now you heard about it. Please read about it. Ask us as well, because I think this is a very important first program as I see it, helping customers to overcome those commercial challenges they see, the challenges of migrating from these old versions to the new versions. Also an announcement in here, because we have looked in how can we make this more scalable and how can we do those assessments more scalable. So I'm happy to announce that we will team up with Citrix 65 with their Kite 365 platform. This is a platform built by very skilled people out of the Dynamics community to streamline the business requirements gathering process, to make detailed fit gap analysis and accelerate the discussions or move to the cloud. So you make it a self-service for customers. You go on the platform, you fill out what you are looking for, and you get an automated output, fit gap analysis, breakdowns, comparisons. So we just decided to team up with them. So we will incorporate our IP and our solution on that platform. I know some of the partners here on the call, we've been talking about this with our Diamond partners, for example. I know partners are already using this for Business Central alone. We believe this can really help to accelerate and make that assessment more scalable and show that real business value. So stay tuned here. We need some time to incorporate our software, but we believe this is really going to help us to tackle the challenge of migrating so many customers to the cloud. So I just want to make you aware that this is ongoing and in progress. A little bit more on the modernization centers. These are the specialized partners that can help out here. Good to see that out of the questionnaire we did, 38% is working, and we've seen some work that you're working with these partners. And if you wonder who those partners are, then Companion, their one-click factory, I think that's the name that everybody resonates, is one of them. Simplanova and Chelos are some of the key partners in here. but also a partner like Archerpoint in the US, which is our partner, has also received this status. We've been working with all those partners to see what can we do to make offerings that help you, our partners, and our customers to speed up this migration process. So those of you that never heard of them, please also let's look at this and see what we can do. And Ala is going to talk about this also in her part of the presentation on how we work with those partners and how you can benefit from this. My last slide for this part is the last question we asked in our survey. And again, this is just a number of partners, some of the partners we asked here. So our goal for today's webinar is that we'll change these numbers, because we believe that we as LS Retail can definitely help you with our cloud acceleration program to discuss how we can migrate old customers to the latest version. We see we can aggregate information. We can be the one that brings the knowledge together from the different partners, get the best practices, get the best learning. So we love to see that this number after this webinar, if we ask it again, will be 100% on yes. Definitely LS Retail can help you with this. And I'd like to hand it over now to Ala, if you to talk about how we can help you and what services we will offer. So thanks for now, and I will be back with some final slides after Ala's presentation.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah, thank you, Peter. So what are we offering and what is the value for you? The added value of participating in LS migration services is that you will have a single point of contact that will support you on your migration journey. And the beauty of it is that it is free of charge. But as well, we have scalability to meet different migration complexity, both high and low. So how would the process for the more complex customers look like? To qualify for more migration support, your customer needs to fulfill the requirement of having a certain amount of complexity and a certain high license value. After you have qualified for this process, we will help you identify your capacity for the migration work. And we also offer license comparison between the on-premise license and the SaaS subscription, and support you with your customers' SaaS architecture needs. After this, we will be diving more into the technical part of the migration. And the next step of the process is for you to fill out a questionnaire that we share with you before our so-called readiness meeting. The main output of this meeting is to define your pain points of the LS migration. This is important to identify before we schedule the workshop with the consulting team. Here, we can also start the discussion about the LS Central architecture in SaaS. That is, will the POS be online, or does the customer require an offline POS? And if required, we can include an AIM Migration Center in the session where they can introduce the tools and the services they have on offer to make the migration journey easier for you. The topics in the workshop, as I said before, will depend solely on your pain points in the migration. But we do offer, for example, a fit gap analysis of LS Central, old and new, and guidance in moving your customizations and integrations to SaaS. After the workshop, you can then proceed with the migration with or without the help from the AIM Migration Center. But in both cases, we will offer continued guidance from the migration team. And to add to this, we are currently working with one of the AIM Migration Center to add LS Central into their tools and processes. We also see partners team up with our consulting team for part of the migration work. So that could also be an option for you. For less complicated implementations with little customizations, we offer a more scalable migration process where we plan to offer a 60 days trial period for the customer to test LS Central in SaaS with their master data. We will then, in the migration team, offer support both during and after these 60 days. So if you've been in touch with us in onboarding and the CAP team or Cloud Accelerator Program team, then you will be thrilled to know that the migration team is an extension of that same team. Our support has been delivering immense value to our partners through team sessions, facilitating your SaaS implementations. The team is doing some fantastic work. For instance, we are guiding our partners through the hybrid server setup, providing guidance on the update service, data migration, and general SaaS practices. And that's not all. We are always there to lend a helping hand when there are critical issues that need solving in SaaS. Plus, our Microsoft Buddy and the BC Concierge program are an excellent way for us to get in touch with Microsoft so that we can escalate those critical issues and get them resolved ASAP. And as a final note for me, I want to say that we are looking forward to working alongside you on your migration projects and help facilitate your migration journey. So to you, Peter.
Thank you, Alla. And hopefully this short summary of the free offerings we do to you as a partner should all convince you to move and get help of our team. As I said, we collect a lot of information from all the partners, and this service is getting better every day. And let's also bring it to one of our light slides. What actions can we take as a community? So summarizing what we've talked about today, it is we must and we'd like to speed up the dialogue. We feel that there's enough benefits for customers to show the value of moving to LS Central Cloud version. If it's not only about the AI trends around it, if it's not only about the convenience of running it as a service instead of running it as a product, of making sure that you're on a supported version rather than on an unsupported version, let's speed up the dialogue. We're here to help you with the dialogue. We're here to collect that information and make the dialogue better and better, and focus especially on that business value. Show that it has a value, that the money that the customer needs to invest in migrating, because that's the reality, that they get a benefit, that they get a return on that investment as well. And I asked in an earlier slide, bring that knowledge to us. If there's reference cases that we can share, if we can talk about customers that have been upgrading and see the value, let's bring it on. We're happy to jump on the calls, to make the reference cases, to make that videos. This community has always been strong because we share knowledge and we learn from each other. And this is a tremendous opportunity and a tremendous challenge ahead of us. So by sharing that knowledge, we'll all get better here. And the best way to share that knowledge is, of course, to join us at the Connection event 2024 from May the 13th till the 15th, where we have a special part of the day where we organize roundtables, where we discuss best practices, reference cases. We will have people from Microsoft available there, both on the technical side as well as from the program side. So we all encourage you to sign up and share that knowledge. But that's May. It's still January. So in between there, let's collect the information, make use of the services we offer, like Ella just talked about, the workshops we offer, the programmatics we offer, the knowledge we gain and learn by working with the modernization centers, the work we will be doing around the Kite 365 platform, etc., etc. So the shout out, the action is here. don't be shy. Let's do this together. And we're very keen on hearing your feedback as well. So if you have any questions, then please address them in the webinar tool so we can address those. And we'll like to thank you for attending this webinar, and hope to see a lot of cases popping up that we can work on migrating customers from our older versions to the latest versions. Thank you, and let me see if there's any questions already available that we can address. There's one question here, which is around the, let me just see if I can read it out loud. It's a practical issue about troubleshooting performance and comparing on-premise to SaaS. It's about the telemetry data we get, and it's a long text, so I try to summarize a little bit how we can work on this. My advice would be to this question is that to reach out to our cloud acceleration team, so Alla and her team, to address this. Just for you, in case you don't know how to reach out, if you go to the partner portal, you will find an information there. Just book a time slot with them. It's very easy. It's by Calendly, I think the tool is called, but you will find it on the partner portal. You cannot miss it. That's the easiest way to reach out and talk with that team. So I encourage you to definitely do so. And thanks for this time, and speak to you soon again. Thank you.